guys, I've been getting a lot of Instagram messages on where the truck is, what's the plan with it, what's going on, where it's been. So I just want to make this quick little video to fill you guys in. I guess starting off, let's just rewind a little bit. Back in spring of 2025, I bought this, so a little under a year I've owned it. Picked up for $1,000. Not running, not driving. I went once to look at it, made an offer. The guy didn't like it. Came back 3 months later, and I think at that point he realized it's very hard to sell with no proof the engine works and no proof the transmission works, and it was just based off his word. So I bought it, got it here, went through it, fixed it. Turned out to be a $35 O2 sensor that was like shorting to ground and causing the PCM or ECU fuse to blow, which then causing no power to anything. So we fixed that, got that running. Here it sits behind me in my, I guess you'd call this a graveyard, except everything runs back here and drives. I do drive the truck. I haven't since it snowed a couple weeks ago, but it's one-wheel drive currently. But I was taking it to the hardware store, picking up lumber, picking up sheetrock. Over the fall and winter, I've finished a portion of my basement, so I was using it as like a hardware hauler. And it works great. Runs like a top. The 5.0, 302 is in it right now. And since the summer, DJM jumped on board. They sent us out a lowering kit. We lowered it. Detroit Steel Wheel Co. jumped on board, put their wheels on it. Tire Street sent us out some tires for it. So huge shout out to all of them. And if you think about it, all that stuff was sponsored. But if you paid in full plus the price of the truck, it would be sub $5,000 right now. So it's still possible to go and hot rod or whatever you want to call it, mod your cars and have a cool driver. You could daily this if you wanted to. Just we're in New England, so the winter makes it tough. But sub $5,000, you could still have a cool cruiser. So with all that being said, we've been building the motor since October. So I didn't understand this whole process until I did it. And now going forward with future engine builds with Chris, I know more background. I know what to do first. But Eagle jumped on board, Wiseco jumped on board, Edelbrock jumped on board. Now for me to get rods and crank in hand, since they balance it at Eagle, I need to know piston specs and weight and all that to give to Eagle. Now to know piston specs and all that, I need to know which heads we were using. So it all kind of worked out. You need to go backtrack it almost to give everybody the info they need to get you the parts. And some stuff I knew Eagle was on board before I knew Edelbrock was on board, and that's no fault of my own. But we got all that sorted out. Engines together, comp cams is in it, and then obviously Phytex powering the whole thing. And then we have Milodon, ATI jumped on board. So the past 2 months was parts. I had ordered some stuff that were wrong. I didn't order some things that I didn't know I needed. It's my first time doing a real serious engine build, and we've been building it with Dave over at Cam's Precision Engine in Thomaston. Huge shout out to him. He's been a huge help, wealth of knowledge, and it's just great to have him on board and help us out. So engine runs like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Dave has a run stand at his shop. We put it on the run stand. I rigged up like a kitty litter bucket, 5-gallon fuel cell system almost with the Phytex parts. Cut the AN line like 6 feet to length. We could throw in a clip of that here.
All right, so we just bumped the fuel pump. So everything's primed. We have no leaks at the moment, which is good. We checked everything. So now we're gonna set up our parameters in the unit here and see what happens. So.
And we fired it up. We put minimal parameters in, and we were surprised it fired right up, which was great on the Phytex stuff, which was huge.
Push idle, and it comes right back down to idle.
Yeah. About 900.
And we didn't adjust.
So we said 800?
Yeah.
Trying to find 800, but
that ran like a sewing machine. So that is a great motor, ready to go. Now Dave doesn't have an engine dyno, so we have to go elsewhere. So we're using a buddy of his to dyno it, and we're just waiting for the time to do it to be above freezing cold outside, because we got to have the vents and exhausts open there, and then just time where my time aligns, Chris's time aligns, Dave times align, and engine dyno time guys time aligns. So that's the plan moving forward. As for the rest of the truck, once we get the engine dynoed, we're just going to do it with no turbo, get a baseline of just what the engine makes NA, and then hopefully we'll get working, put it in the truck. It should take less than a weekend to swap the motor in and out, but more than a weekend to do all the systems. So we have to do an exhaust system, a downpipe. We have a turbo kit from Stainless Headers Manufacturing. So thank you to them for that. And what else? And then we just have to, put the FiTech in, get rid of the engine harness that's in there, and do the intercooler cooling system, stuff like that. And that should take, I don't know, not a lot. Well, it'll take a decent amount of time to do that stuff. But hopefully we can have this truck moving again under its own power by summer. That would be ideal. As for transmission, we need something that holds a lot of power. And I'd prefer automatic. Just my main goal with this whole truck, when Dan brought up the 1,000 horsepower idea and whatever, it was just something streetable. So I want something that's streetable and uh, drivable, street, strip, both. So I was looking at the 8 HP and going that route, because automatic, it should handle the power just fine. And then, but I don't know, I'm open to other options, still exploring. It's a lot of money either way. That's the other thing. So when this whole thing started, it kind of just snowballed. Um, yes, a lot of it was sponsored, and we're extremely thankful for all that. But some of it I got to pay for out of pocket, which is expected. It's just a lot more than I was expecting to pay. But when you build cars like this, that's what happens. So I understand that. It's just when I have the time, I'm sorry, when I have the money, I'm throwing it here, throwing it there, trying to get this thing done. So that's what my thought right now is 8 HP. Dan, our fabricator, has a 9-inch. So if we put the internals in that, we could swap that over. The DJM, we checked, and the DJM lowering kit should still fit that. And then it'll have posi, which is another big thing. So that's whatever. And then a drive shaft. So there's definitely a lot of more involved and things to do. It's just time, waiting on this, waiting on that. But I'd eventually, like I said, me and Chris, I'd love to take this on a drag week, or at least take it up to Lebanon Valley and do a couple passes there and see what it does. Um, but it's just, time and money. Anyways, that's where we're at with this. It runs, it drives as is, and we're still working on it.